Great. So, thank you guys so much. First off, I want to start by thanking you for putting your trust in me and taking the time out to learn more about what we've created here. And we call it the Healing Mitts Intentional Boxing Training System. And it's very important to me. It's a very special project to me to bring more trauma informed coaches and well trained coaches to the boxing and fitness industry. As you know, the boxing and fitness industry is gaining incredible traction over the last 10 to 15 years, and it's on its way to grow into a worldwide thing. People have finally picked up on the benefits of boxing training, and I want to make sure that we take it to the next level. All right. So, a little bit more about me. I started boxing in 2009. I actually started boxing because I was dealing with depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and suicidal thoughts. And my therapist, recommended I try boxing to give me something to do, a physical outlet. And that decision changed my life. That the reason why I'm here right now is because I sought out help, and I got the help that I needed, and it became my lifelong passion to help other people heal through the sport of boxing and through fitness training. All right. So I've trained over 30,000 personal training sessions since 2010. So about 12 years in the industry. I've been a full-time trainer 10 plus years, and I've seen a lot of different things, and I've helped a lot of different clients, and I'm hoping that you all can benefit from my experience in the industry. I also train all levels of boxers, from enthusiasts to professionals and anywhere in between. All right, so let's get this started. Everything that you're about to learn is based off of this word here, and it's very important that you understand the meaning of it. And it is neuroplasticity, the idea that whenever you're doing something, you're training your brain to become better at that activity. Everything that we do in the Healing Mitts IBT training program is based off of this concept. So all of the things, the four principles, all the concepts, everything piggybacks off of this principle. The idea that practicing something, you'll get better at it. So strengthening the muscles of the mind. So we have emotional muscles in the mind, we have decision-making muscles in the mind, we have all kinds of different things in our mind underneath our conscious control and under our subconscious control. All right. So get ready. This concept is really important, and it's going to be the basis of everything that you're going to learn. And that's why this has its own slide. So if you like to do your own research, please do more research, learn as much as you can about the idea of neuroplasticity and how it works, because it's going to be life-changing not only for yourself, it's also going to be life-changing for your clients. What is IBT, or intentional boxing training? The Healing Mitts Intentional Boxing Training System was created with the intention of enhancing and systemizing the therapeutic effects of boxing training for everyday people. In a nutshell, it comes down to four principles: relaxed intensity, active concentration, champion's breath, and technical focus. And we'll dive in deeper to each of these in the following slides. But think about it like this. As a whole, the boxing and fitness industry, if you use Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you'll see people saying it all the time. They'll say, hitting this heavy bag is therapy. So I asked myself the question, well, what about hitting the heavy bag is therapy? And how can we make that experience even more therapeutic for people? And this is what we came up with. We came up with the four principles of intentional boxing training. And we're going to go over all the details in the following slides. So it's going to be a lot of information coming at you. Take notes, open your mind, empty your cup, and just try to understand what I'm getting at. Because a lot of this stuff is going to seem like intuition, but it actually is backed by different scientific, therapeutic, and modalities out there, okay? Relaxed intensity is a state of alertness and fluidity known in sports psychology as being in the zone. So, for an athlete or a boxer to perform at their best, there is a certain level of relaxation and fluidity that is necessary in order for them to perform at their best. We all know that we are emotional creatures, and in the moment in stressful situations, if we're not able to manage our stress or anxiety or, manage our emotions, then we're not able to perform and get the result that we're looking to attain. All right. Relaxanticity can be used to assess a client's level of anxiety, stress, or frustration. What you will see is you'll get a client and you'll put them into a boxing stance, and you'll be able to see their level of relaxation. A lot of clients that are anxious or stressed out or frustrated, they have a hard time standing still. They have a hard time just taking a deep breath and being in a boxing stance. So it's going to take patience and time to help get that person to do what we call do nothing until they're doing something. So there should be absolutely no movement beyond maybe a little bit of a boxer's hop before anything else is happening. This is how relaxanticity works is you're doing nothing until it's time to do something. The skill learned primarily in this principle is self-regulation. The idea to be in the state of relaxed intensity is a powerful idea, because if you can do it in sports, then you can do it in everyday life. So for example, say you're a high-powered CEO, or you're training a high-powered CEO, and they've got to learn to control their emotions. They've got to learn to not show any kind of weakness, that they have to stay relaxed, but they also have to have a certain level of intensity in order to get the job done, right? This principle is a benefit for you, okay? This principle focuses on teaching our clients how to relax their bodies and focus their attention. Attention's everything when it comes to performance. The more you can pay attention to something, the more time you spend focused on something, the better, the more likely you are going to be successful in that thing, the more likely you are to achieve that goal. So we teach this to our clients inside the gym and outside of the gym. Active concentration. The active concentration principle focuses on a boxer's ability to process information at high speeds and make appropriate response. So think about it like this. What is the difference between a reaction and a response? Now, a reaction oftentimes, or most times, would be something that happens more automatic. Think about knee-jerk reaction, something that happens automatically. Now, a response, there's some sort of mental processing going on there, even if it's at a very high speed, right? So specifically to boxing, right? The appropriate response to someone throwing a jab at you could be one of three responses, right? You could step back, you could counterpunch, you could parry, you could slip. There's about 5 different ways you could defend it, but staying in control and not freaking out over someone trying to hit you is the goal. The goal is to stay focused on what's happening in front of you and having an appropriate response. We consider using your concentration versus using your instinct. Now, instinct might lead you to a safe place, or it might not lead you to where you want to go. So when we say instinct versus concentration, we're talking flight or flight versus, making a decision. So we all know the fight or flight or freeze response. Either you're going to fight back, you're going to freeze right where you are, or you're going to run away. Those are the 3 automatic responses. However, in boxing or in athletics or in sports or in life, you're making a choice to go into a stressful situation. And what you have to do is use your training, use your concentration versus using just what you were born with. Because if you use just what you were born with, you may not get the outcome that you were looking to achieve. So the difference between concentration and instinct is very simple, right? We said it before, let me say it again. It's a response versus a reaction. One is automatic and the other is with intention. The skill associated with this principle is to be more responsive than reactive. Now, this serves you in so many different ways in life, because what we really want to do as we become more mindful and more in control of our actions, we're becoming more responsive versus becoming more reactive. So we have to teach our clients that practicing this in the gym doesn't just end in the gym. This is something that you should practice in everyday life. You want to be more responsive than reactive. And that way, you can be more strategic and you can get closer to the outcomes that you're looking for. Visualization. This is an essential skill taught to the boxer for competition. This one is really important because it's a big part of everything that we do. We are making boxing training more mindful, and we're hoping that that translates to the client's everyday life experience. So the best thing that you can do in preparation for things is to practice, right? But the cool thing about visualization is the brain, the mind, right, doesn't know the difference between something imagined and something that's actually happening, right? So you'll see it a lot when boxers shadow box. You'll see them. It's almost like they're fighting mosquitoes, like they're visualizing somebody in front of them. And this is very, very powerful, especially on the side of, you know, regulation and mental rehearsal, because you're preparing yourself. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but you're preparing yourself for how are you going to respond in those situations. And this can translate as a skill towards anything. You're going into a meeting, you're going in, on a date, anything that you can do, you can also visualize. You can visualize walking. Obviously, walking is probably not a skill that you're looking to get better at, or maybe, but if you visualize yourself walking, then you essentially can get better at walking through visualization. Because, like I said, the brain doesn't know the difference between what's something that's actually physically happening and something that you're imagining that is happening. Okay. Visualization. It gives the athlete or client the ability to mentally rehearse before competition or before whatever it is that you're doing. So it could be competition, it could be confrontation, it could be a sales meeting, it could be you could be practicing something. Say for instance, you're wanting to eat healthier. You can imagine what it's like to be hungry and making a better decision, right? Instead of going to McDonald's, you can imagine yourself the next time you get hungry, you're going to go to the grocery store, and it's going to increase the chances of you actually following through on your goals. All right. Mental rehearsals have been proven to help boxers and other high performers prepare themselves to make better decisions in stressful situations, right? I'm saying the same thing over and over in different ways because I want you to be able to have different iterations for different clients. If you have to explain it in a different way, you have to learn how to say the same things 5 different ways, okay? This is most relevant to the principle of active concentration. However, it can be used in principles to help strengthen the skill. Can be used in all things. Visualization can make things better, make any skill better. If you want to get better at something, visualize yourself doing it, and you certainly will get better over time. The ability to make adjustments. A boxer must develop the skill of analyzing patterns and reading body language. And think about it like this: the ability to make adjustments is a skill that is extremely powerful for a boxer, because you go into the game with one plan, and then something happens that wasn't expected or you didn't prepare for. Your ability to adjust is going to be your ability to win in all situations. So think about it like a boxer. If you can make adjustments on the fly and adapt to any style, then you're going to be able to be more successful. And that goes for the corporate world, the business world, your relationships, everything. The better you are at adjusting to who's in front of you, the more successful you're going to be. All right. So boxers enter a ring with a game plan and have to adjust based on the tendencies of the opponent. You got to think to yourself, you can't just be one dimensional, right? You can't just be a good talker. You also have to be a good listener. You can't just be a good on offense. You got to be good on defense. You can't just have one. You can't have one tool. You have to have multiple tools, and you have to know when to use those tools in order to be successful. Boxing requires high-speed decision-making in stressful situations. Learning how to remain calm and control And boxing is a skill that translates into everyday situations. Like I said before, making adjustments is a principle that I learned in boxing that applied to everyday life, really changed my whole life experience. One of the best ways to self-regulate is through champion's breath or conscious breathing technique. I always tell you like this: if in the moment something's going on and you need to make an adjustment, it is okay to stop and take a deep breath before making your next move, right? And the interesting part is when you stop to take a deep breath, people actually really appreciate you slowing things down for a moment and being mindful of the words and the decisions that you're making. All right. Champion's breath. This principle focuses on the boxer's ability to control their breath inside the ring. And I can't say one principle is more important than the other because they're all important. And mastering these skills will change your life in so many different ways. But the breath is the only thing that is automatic and underneath our conscious control. So think about it like this, like a biohacker. If you change your breath weight, you can literally change your physiology, right? Breathing is not breathing is the only function of the nervous system that is both automatic and under conscious control, right? I just said that, but reiterating it, learn to control your breath and you can basically change your mental state at will. Might take a few minutes, but you can change your mental state at any time. If you need to relax, take some deep breaths. If you need to wake up, breathe a little bit faster, you know? Champion breath is a form of conscious breathing used in athletics to aid recovery and performance, right? And if you lose track of your breath in a stressful situation, slowing things down and taking some deep breaths will help bring you back to a place where you're able to make more sound decisions. If you get stuck in a fight or flight response, it's almost impossible, like physically impossible, to make good decisions because the logical reasoning part of your brain is shut down in those moments, and the more primal brain takes over. So if in fact you want to make better decisions in a stressful situation, slow your breath rate down. Champion's breath is a breath rate of less than six greater to or less than 6 breaths per minute. So I think 6 to 10 breaths. So either 6 second to 10 second breaths is ideal. But think about it like this: like a 3 second inhale and a 3 second exhale. Or for performance, we do something like a 3 second inhale and a 5 to 7 second exhale. This life skill focuses on the breath control. Learn to control your breath in stressful situations for more intentional outcomes. It's just that simple. Like, if you're in a situation where somebody's making you angry, it's almost impossible to be angry and take deep breaths. So if in fact you're dealing with a stressful situation or a difficult situation and you want better outcomes, take deep breaths and stay control of your breath and you'll control your fight. Technical focus, putting it all together and being in the moment. This principle focuses on the technical side of boxing, proper form and technique. And I tell you this from experience, is it's extremely difficult, close to impossible to learn proper form and technique while thinking about something else. And this is why this is so important, because it teaches our clients how to be in the moment, to just focus on what they're doing. The idea that you can shut everything else that's going on out and just box and just be in this moment, and whatever it is that you need to take care of and whatever it is that you need to do later on, you can focus on that when the time comes. But the idea is helping the client get better at focusing on what's in front of them and being in that moment and seizing their power. The power is in the moment. The power is focusing your attention on what it is that you need to accomplish one at a time, not task cycling, not multitasking, but focus on it. So it's impossible to work on anything else. It's impossible to think about anything else if you're putting 100% effort into your training. The skill that is practiced here is letting go and being in the moment. And I think that a lot of our clients struggle with this. Most people that struggle with stress, anxiety, depression is because they're living in the past, which makes them depressed, and sometimes anxious, or they're living thinking about what's happening, what's going to happen tomorrow, which is makes them stressed out, anxious, and maybe even depressed. So what we have to do is we have to teach our clients inside the gym and outside the gym to only focus on what's in front of them, and you can only control what you control, right? You can't control anyone else. You can't control anything else. All you can do is focus on what's in front of you, and ultimately, if you do that, you'll feel better and you'll get closer to those desired outcomes. Developing boxing IQ. Boxing IQ is a result of using the four principles interchangeably. When a person enters a IBT session, it is the goal of the coach to understand what kind of intentions are set for the client. So this one is up to you as a coach to understand what the client needs from you, right? Say, for example, you have a client that suffers from anxiety. Maybe you're going to be focusing mostly on champion's breath and the art of relaxed intensity, or maybe not. It's up to you to decide what principles and what lessons are going to help the client the most, right? So as a coach, you have to learn to use your critical thinking skills and understand the client and make the appropriate programming for them, all right? This understanding of the client's mindset and goals gives a coach an area of focus with the client. So you really just got to understand what the client needs. Talk to the client, understand the client, and always continue to reevaluate during your sessions. Ask the client, how's this session going? What do we need more on? Like, what do we need to focus more on to help you feel your best? And then ask them, after our last session, how was that situation that you've been dealing with? Is it getting better? Is what we're doing here helping? Always be assessing. Every day is assessment day when you're dealing with people's mental health. All right. As coaches, we have to identify what areas the client needs to improve in order to help them reach their goals. None of this matters, right? If we are not focusing 100% of our attention on the clients and helping the client achieve a desired outcome. That is our goal. That is our job, and that is the purpose of this: is to help people heal through their traumas and through their daily lives, release their stress, and feel better and feel more control over their emotions over time. All right, so thanks so much for sitting through this presentation on the essential skills that you will learn in this course. Now, if anything in here doesn't make any sense, I'm available to you 24/7. Just either go to our Facebook group or send me an email, and I can help explain anything that might not make sense in here. Also, you can always go to your manual, go to your coach's manual, and if the answer isn't there, you can always reach out. I'm always available. I'll be doing live presentations. I'll be updating this information regularly. So, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If not, thanks so much for your time and intention, and helping the fitness industry grow more trauma informed and more mindful. See you guys soon. Thanks.